Let's add a couple more words to our vocabulary here. Forms and fields, or what I call collecting stuff. You have to think about it this way. What basically is a web page? A web page is me giving you information. You sit there, you read it, you interact with it somewhat, you change the pages, but it's me giving you information. Forms and fields allow you to give information back to me. The hard part is not making a form. Believe me on that. 10 minutes from now, you'll be making forms. The most difficult part of the creation of a form, in my opinion, is how you get the information from you back to me. Now let's look at a form in the terms of what came first, the chicken or the egg, or in my case, what came first, the forms or the field. When you create a form, you're starting out with a normal web page. There is nothing special about it. It's a plain old page. You begin by making what's called the form. It's a button click. Now the form is the container. Everything must go inside that container that you want sent, because otherwise the computer wouldn't know what you wanted to send. Once you make the form, then you actually make the fields, which, to be honest with you, is not very difficult. After that, you create, say, a send button, and you can do other buttons to print, you can do buttons to reset, you can make buttons for just about anything you want. Once the form is done, however, the work starts, in my opinion. You have to get it to transfer from you to me. Now that's got to go through my firewalls and all kinds of things. This is your IT department. They use something typically called a CGI. Now CGI, if you've never heard that term before, stands for Common Gateway Interface. It is primarily, but not really exclusively, written in a language called Perl. Perl script, JavaScript, all these different languages. What it does, it's a very easy language to work with between you and me to get the information across. And typically the information is then stuck on the end of a file called appending. Maybe it's an Access database or something like that. They look something like this. Now when I teach Perl classes, this is actually the first statement my students will write. And if you can get through that and read it, it says at the very bottom, hello world. It's a very common one. Most teachers who teach Perl will usually have this one done first. What happens if you execute it, it will print hello world. That's all it does. Our scripts are much more complicated than that, obviously, because they have to take in a lot of considerations, the data fields and everything else that goes on. This is the end of our lesson on Perl. This is not a class on Perl scripting. That part will be done probably by your IT department. As a matter of fact, you would tell them the fields, tell them the names of the fields, and basically they would more or less do the rest for you. But I'm going to show you how you set that up so you know how to do it when you've got that script and you're ready to go. So we're done. We need to set up our site and then get started making a form.